Okay, so we are going to do target B day 2, which talks about normal distributions. And we're going to be at the top of page 13 again, where I want to briefly talk about the definition of a normal distribution. And so a normal distribution is a way to display our data. It's a trend that we see. And it is a distribution that is bell shaped. So kind of like a church bell or a hill, it looks like a hill, where 68% of the data falls within one standard deviation, 95% fall within two, and 99.7% fall within three. And we'll talk about that once we have everything set up. And so you have a small one to reference right here, but I want to put one that we can reference on the bottom of page 14. On the bottom of page 14, we have a bigger chart that we can write on. So you will want to use this to fill it out. And you'll want to listen to this explanation. This is the standard form of a normal distribution chart. All of them will look the same. You will have to draw these from scratch though. So you will have a line going across the bottom right here. And then you will draw your best effort at this normal distribution hill. And then when you do that, because this one's already given for you, but you will have to do them for your own problems, you will draw one line going straight down the middle. And this line going straight down the middle is your mean. You're going to put your mean there. And we symbolize the mean with that little U thing. And remember, by definition of mean, it is symbolized by mu. And so it's that U. And then, so we're going to put our number there, and then we are going to put on each side, we're going to put 3 lines going down. 1, 2, 3. And on the other side, 1, 2, 3. Where each line stands for a standard deviation. So this line right here is going to be standing for 1 standard deviation above the mean. 1 standard deviation above the mean. This one right here is going to be 2 standard deviations above the mean. And this one right here is going to be 3 standard deviations above the mean. And same thing going in the other direction. This is going to be 1 standard deviation below the mean. And so I'm going to associate that with -1 below. This one's going to be -2 standard deviations below the mean. And this one is -3 standard deviations below the mean. And so this will make more sense when we do numbers with this, which we will in other examples, but you are now responsible for knowing the, if you remember, according to the definition, 68% of the data lay within 1 standard deviation. So between 1 standard deviation is going to be +1 standard deviation and -1 standard deviation. So there's 68% of the data here. So if I want to find the data, the percent data that just lies between the mean and 1 positive standard deviation, it's going to be 34%. And then between the data that is 1 standard deviation and 2 standard deviations is 13.5%. Between 2 standard deviations and 3 standard deviations is going to be 2.35%. Which I don't have room for, so I'll put it here, 2.35%. And above 3 standard deviations and on is 0.15%. And this is symmetrical. It goes the same way in both directions. So there's 34% over here. It's kind of like a mirror. Again, and then between -1 and -2 standard deviations, again, is 13.5%. Between -2 and -3 is going to be 2.35%. And anything past -3 is going to be again 0.1. These percentages will be the same every time. Now, you are responsible for knowing these percentages. You have to draw one of these pictures for each problem. We are going to go through an example now where this will all be tied together.